With Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out, I decided to play Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I liked the game so much that I decided to get the Platinum Trophy. One of the reasons I love getting the Platinum Trophy for games is because it gives you a different perspective of the game, more than just a one-time playthrough. And you see a lot of these reviews where they only play the game for 10 hours and barely scratch the surface of the game. Well, I put in 140 hours into Final Fantasy VII Remake, and even though I could have put in more, I feel like it gives me a good perspective for what the game's true potential is. Now, in my experience after a Platinum Trophy, it can either make the game better, but it can also make the game worse. Let's talk about some of the things I did not like about the game. Numero uno, boring side quests. I'm not going to say all the side quests were boring, but the majority of them were painful, but not painful in the way of difficulty, but in the way of me getting bored of the game. I felt like they could have put a little more thought into some of the side quests. The mini games, however, were very fun. I had a good time with those, but there are very few of them, and to my great excitement, I have heard that they have added a good amount of side quests in Rebirth. But let's hold up. We are not here to talk about Rebirth. Another thing that really bugged me was cutscenes starting when I was in the middle of a big attack or a limit break. This happened to me way too many times, and by the end of my limit break or attack, it was wasted. I do not mind cutscenes in the middle of fights, but let's not have it pop when I'm in the middle of dealing out some huge damage. And lastly, can we get a loadout system or something for different materia sets? I was so annoyed every time I had to go in and change my materia around when encountering a new boss with different weaknesses. I want to be able to save my materia loadouts or sets just to be able to swap back and forth depending on whatever situation I am in. I have heard that they have this in Crisis Core. Please, Square Enix, add it to Rebirth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, time for the good stuff. I have to get this off my chest. After all I just said, I absolutely love this game. I have so many good things to say about it, but I will try not to be long-winded. First off, I love the combat. I've never been into turn-based combat, and I am not saying that this is anything like it, but I love the mix of action and turn-based combat in this game. It was so much fun being in the heat of battle and then being able to not only command the other characters to perform attacks, but also switch to them and doing the attacks yourself. Some of the most fun times I had in this game were during those tough boss fights, going back and forth between characters, and then there are the strategies that I need to figure out and execute to get past each boss. Amazing. Once you start getting the hang of things and remember where all the commands are at and get quick at it, it is so smooth and satisfying. Some of the best combat in a game that I have experienced. I cannot wait to see how they improve something this great in Rebirth. Second, the story is also fantastic. I am new to the Final Fantasy scene and have never played Final Fantasy VII OG, so maybe that helps me in loving the story because I do not have any attachments to the OG story and how they have changed it. I was hooked to the story the minute Cloud jumped off the train, and I'm going to add this in as well. The characters are amazing, and they do a very good job at getting you attached to the characters, and maybe there's one or two that you relate to more. Even the bad guys are awesome. Don't get me started on Sephiroth. He's a badass. I cannot wait to find out more about his story. Lastly, the bosses. I know this kind of goes with combat, but I am keeping it separate. The boss designs were amazing, and there were a lot of memorable boss fights. It felt like a chess match trying to figure out their weaknesses and the right strategy. I have played many games where all the bosses just blend in together, but in Final Fantasy VII Remake, I can remember every single boss, and I enjoyed each fight. Alright, so there it is. I love the game at this point, right? But will the Platinum Trophy change this? I have to beat the game on hard mode and fight the hardest boss gauntlet in this game. As far as all the trophies go, I do not feel like any of them were extremely tedious except for one, and you can all probably guess which one that is. Yes, it is Dress to the 9. Obtain all 9 bridal candidate outfits. For this one, I had to play chapters 3, 8, and 99 multiple times while also doing the side quests in some of those playthroughs. Yes, the same boring side quest I talked about. This trophy was just annoying and it did not add anything to the experience. It was unnecessary. I don't mind difficult trophies. I actually love difficult trophies, but this one was not even difficult, just a time filler. It reminds me when I was in school and the teacher would give us busy work just to keep us busy. Alright, I got that out of the way. If I thought I loved Final Fantasy Remake, hard mode and going after the platinum completely changed that. Hard mode and the platinum trophy made me infatuated and obsessed with this game. I love a challenge, and hard mode was a big challenge, but it made me better at the game and forced me to understand with a deeper knowledge the combat and the material, which I already loved. Hard mode unlocked a whole new level of the combat that I could not get enough of until I met Pride and Joy. Pride and Joy, which is a boss gauntlet of 5 of the most difficult bosses on steroids, one of those being a double boss fight. The bosses are Shiva, Fat Chocobo, Leviathan, Bahamut, and Ifrit, and then the Pride and Joy prototype. Yes, you heard me correctly. You have to fight Bahamut and Ifrit together. Even with eventually using a guide, I spent a total of 10 hours on this fight. I needed to get good. The boss gauntlet gave me a piece of warm, humble pie, but it was a piece of pie I would gladly eat. It made me better at the game. I felt like I was unlocking the full potential of the combat to the 10th degree. I'm so glad Rebirth is out and I cannot wait to get more of this combat. Before the Plat trophy, the game was an 8 out of 10 for me. After the Platinum, it was a 10 out of 10 for me. I am a big fan now. If you also love this game and you are up for the challenge, I 100% recommend going after the Platinum trophy. If you want to see my Final Fantasy VII Platinum journey or check out any of my other Platinum videos and reviews, click on these links. Until next time.